Hey guys, Jared, Transformational Coaching, Action is Transformation. In this video, we're going to get into how do you draw proper boundaries in relationship. Really, boundaries are absolutely key in any relationship, whether it's business, romance, friendship, in order to really enjoy life and feel safe and secure within yourself. Most individuals in the world, I'd bet a lot of money on it, are walking around in the world and experiencing insecurity or anxiety, doubt, or worry because they don't know how to draw proper boundaries. And so what they end up doing is putting energetic walls over the heart because they don't know how to communicate and draw boundaries with their voice. This amazing thing happens when we trust to use our voice in life. What we do is we drop the boundaries around our heart because we trust to use our voice. We speak our truths into the world and we draw boundaries with individuals that way. Most individuals have these big energetic heart walls up around their heart on the front for giving or on the back from receiving because they don't trust other people or they don't trust themselves to speak up for what it is that they really want and to draw proper boundaries. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some ways that you can draw boundaries in your relationship and the importance and necessity of boundaries so you can actually enjoy life and relationship and feel safe and secure within yourself. Any insecurity or any anxiety you might be experiencing on the inside is coming from a place. It's coming because you don't trust your own inner voice and you don't speak your truth to draw boundaries. And so there's really good reason for your body to be scared when you don't trust your own inner voice. If we don't know how to draw proper boundaries with people and say no when we want to say no and say yes when we want to say yes, then we're going to feel anxiety. That's the emotional signal that's letting you know that there's something that wants to be said or done that you may not be doing. So, without further ado, let's get into how to set boundaries. So, number one, clearly define your boundaries. It's so important to define your boundaries. In most individuals, they don't know how to communicate their boundaries because they're actually not in touch with their boundaries. So I'll just talk about what you have a right over and what you don't, which sounds really ridiculous even saying. You have a right over who you want to open your body to. You have a right as to who you want to open your mind to. You have a right as to who you want to open your heart to. It's pretty much that simple. Most individuals are walking around in the world unaware of how their life energies are going out. They're opening their body up to people with sex. They're opening up their heart to anyone and everyone. They're opening up their mind to other individuals, sharing psychic space. All those things are within your control. You don't have to open up to any of them. But what happens is a lot of us have grown up in families or grown up in a particular society that places value on interconnectedness or places value on always being open. I was coaching one woman, I'll never forget it. She was part of a tantric community and pretty much everyone was having sex with each other. It was just like, ugh. And she said, yeah, well, that's free love though. And I said, no, that's just people not knowing how to draw boundaries. That's all that is. If that's the way that you want to swing your door, there's no problem with that. You can swing your door that way, but the reality of it is you get to choose who you want to open your body up to, who you want to open up your mind and way of thinking to, and who you want to open up your heart to. You have control over all three of those. Now, the most important thing here is to do that in a way that honors and respects your own evolution. I used to open up my heart and my mind to everyone. I've always been very particular about who I open my body up to, but my mind and my heart were things that I would kind of just give away a lot because I was a very passionate person. And now I'm very keen as to who I open my heart up to and who I don't. And it's like a swinging door. Like you want to open it up and close it as you see fit. It's important. You don't want to open up your heart to a narcissist or someone who's not going to reciprocate or give you this the same amount of love that you're going to give to them. It should be an equal and reciprocal exchange. And if it's not an equal and reciprocal exchange, well, then that's definitely not a relationship that you want to go down and open your heart up to. The same with your mind. Your psychic space or your mental space is something that you have the right to draw boundaries over. There's a lot of different philosophies, ways of being out there in the world, and when you open your mind up to certain things or certain ways of seeing the world or viewing the world, that's going to change and impact who you become and who you are. So you have full right as to who you open your body, your mind, and your heart to, and really who you open those things up to will determine the trajectory of your life. And it's really that simple. So we want to be really in touch with how we want to grow and how we want to develop. You have a choice as to where you want to put your energies and how you want to grow and develop. It's completely up to you. Most individuals in the world are still caught up in traumatic ways of being and don't realize that they have a choice as to how they want to develop and who they want to develop into. Number 2, communicate your boundaries. Once you know your boundaries and you can define them, it's a whole nother level to be able to actually communicate your boundaries. And this is where the heart walls come up with individuals that I see. They don't know how to communicate their boundaries. I mean, this was me for probably the first 27 years of my life, and I'm still learning different aspects of my life where I hadn't communicated needs or truths that I needed to communicate right away. Although I have always done that, and it sometimes played out in just ways that I didn't anticipate. The importance here is to communicate what it is that you need and want, whether it's in a interpersonal romantic relationship, whether it's in a friendship, whether it's in a business partnership. Communicate what it is that you need and want from another person and own it fully. Knowing your boundaries is one thing, but communicating them is a whole entirely different beast and ball game. Now, there's this really great word that I think a lot of people have forgotten about. It's a great word that when you use it and say it, it releases stress, it releases anxiety, you don't feel so burdened to do things. And if you don't say it, then usually I see tension or stress or worry go up. And the word is no. N-O, just N-O, no. I remember the first time I started really saying no to people. It was about when I was 26 years old, and I was like, wow, wait a second, I can say no to people? I didn't know that I could do that. I didn't know I could say no, I don't want that. Yes, I do want that, or that it's okay to communicate that. And there was such a lightness that entered my being. There was such a feeling of sweetness, a feeling of lightness, a feeling of safety within myself when I really learned how to say no to individuals. There's nothing wrong with having values. In fact, it's really important to have values. If you don't know what values are, or maybe you're not in touch with them, you can check out some of my other videos. I have plenty of videos on understanding your value systems and the importance of staying in alignment with them, and how that changes the trajectory of your life. But it's really important to have good values for yourself and know what those values are. The more in touch you get with your values, the more peace and enjoyment you'll have in your life. When you're in touch with your values, which indicate your boundaries and how open or closed you are mentally, emotionally, physically, and then when you communicate those, you'll see that you'll have more alignment to your internal self, and you'll be more of your own energy. You'll be more of who you really are. Drawing proper boundaries not only helps you, it also helps other people as well too. Finally, number 3, ask permission always. Always ask for permission to cross someone's boundary. Look, I'm all about following the heart, and the very saying and nature of the heart is that it knows no bounds, or it knows no boundaries. That being said, when you're allowing the heart to feel, when you're feeling and flowing in life with your heart, you really, when you know that you're crossing a boundary, maybe it's in a relationship, maybe it's in a business relationship, whatever it may be, whenever you know you're walking on sensitive ground, speak to the fact that you're walking on sensitive ground, and then ask permission to cross a boundary. Sometimes when I'm coaching and I feel like I'm hitting up on a wall, an energetic wall, and I'm like, ooh, this person, they've never gone here in their life, and they definitely don't want to, but I see it's where they need to go. I'll ask them that. I'll let them know. I say, hey, I'm getting a sense that we're coming up on some really deep territory that you might not like. Are you okay if I go deeper and push a little bit? And just asking for permission allows a person to feel a sense of safety and calm. Here's the most amazing thing. We have walls up around our hearts because at some point somewhere in our life, someone didn't respect the boundaries that we put in place, or we just didn't have the opportunity to put the boundaries in place. So what did we do to protect ourselves? We put walls up around our heart or somewhere in our being so we feel really safe. The walls can come down when you trust your voice, when you trust yourself to use your voice to speak what it is that you need to speak and say. So don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Don't be afraid to speak up for your values, what it is that you want. Don't be afraid to speak up for your boundaries. I know for me, when I really started speaking up for my boundaries, it was really scary, and there was a lot of nervousness or worry or an anxiety, and that's completely normal. That there's probably some childhood stuff there, not being not your boundaries not being respected when you were younger, and it not being okay to have boundaries or your own space. The reality of it is when you learn to trust yourself to speak up for your own boundaries, and when you learn to fully ask permission to cross other people's boundaries, you'll feel safer, and you'll allow other people to feel safe as well too. And that's really magnetic. That's really attractive. People will love that aspect of you, and you'll love that aspect of yourself because it'll feel so good when you do so. The key point that I want you to take away from all of this is that if you have any walls up somewhere in your heart, then it's because somewhere along the lines in your life, someone didn't respect your heart in the way that it needed to be respected. So in order to protect yourself, naturally, a wall went up over it. But when you trust your voice to speak into existence boundaries for your heart, and your heart knows that you have its best interest at heart, literally, when you have your heart here in your throat, chakra, when those are all connected, the heart and the throat, and you speak boundaries into existence with your voice, you're going to feel safer and more secure in the world, which will allow you to go out there and do a lot more. You'll be, quote unquote, more courageous or brave. You'll take more risks because your heart knows that you have its back. That's all I got for this time. Thanks for joining me, you guys. Check out the Sacred Relationship series in the YouTube description box below. If you haven't signed up for that, go ahead and sign up for that. Please subscribe or share with any family or friends if you've gotten a lot out of this and gotten value from it. I'm really passionate about this work. Obviously, I really love what I do, and I feel like I have the best life because every single day I just get to wake up and ask myself, how can I help other people come into the magnificence of who they really are? How can I get to unearth the best parts of a human being and clear away all the shit that they might have taken on from their family and society and life. And it's always a real honor to see people come into the greatness and the fullness of who they really are and who they've always been, but just didn't have the right tools or support systems in place to bring out. Thanks so much for joining me, you guys. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.